deep down, there was like something that fell off, and I knew it. Secure and assured and comforted and peace. Hey friends, I'm back with another faith-based video, and this one I'm going to be titling A Message to the New Age from an ex-New Ager. If you guys haven't watched my testimony video, I'll link it down below so you guys can get like kind of like the backstory on my history. But anyway, I know this video is not going to be for everyone, but I feel confident that it's going to reach the right people. I felt really called to make this video. I don't necessarily want to make this video, but I feel like God is calling me to make this video, so I'm just listening to that. But I used to follow New Age practices. By the way, I have like a script so I don't get too far off track. So I'm going to be looking, if I'm looking over here, that's what I'm looking at. So I used to follow New Age practices. I have a whole video on that, like I was saying, on how I grew up Christian, fell into the New Age practices, and then back again to Christianity. So again, I'll have that link down below. But now I have a real relationship with God, and I ask myself all the time like what the point of that was, because I feel kind of like embarrassed, if I'm being honest. I can hear like what I used to say and like make videos on, and it's like I was just so confused. I don't want to say I feel embarrassed, but like I think about it and I'm just like, girl, what were you thinking? But I don't say that to make you feel embarrassed if you're, or like shameful if you're following the New Age practices. I'm just saying that to be vulnerable and open, that like I did feel that way and it was hard to change and like admit to myself that I could be wrong with the way I'm living my life, and like start to change it. But I feel like I went through that potentially to be able to help people that are in the like New Age, law of attraction, law of assumption things, find their way back to God, or for the first time find their way back, because I've already been through that. So it's not like I'm saying from not experiencing it. Like I've been through it. I've probably watched all the same videos you have. I've probably read all the same books, like all the things. Like I probably used to think exactly how you think, and found my way back to God. And I just want to be here. Hopefully I went through that to be able to encourage people and tell them, like, if you're questioning your beliefs, or you feel like there's like a little bit of a tug somewhere pulling you to God, that like no one's mad at you, God isn't mad at you, and some people might judge you, but no one's really gonna judge you, and like everything's okay. And I wanted to say this, that from my experience, 7 years of slowly getting into the New Age, usually starts off with good intentions, like positive thinking, self-worth, healing, breaking generational curses, self-help, etc. People on YouTube teaching this usually mention how they had all this trauma and they were able to heal it and let go of it, and that's enticing to people that are experiencing trauma or trying to heal through trauma or like better their life. So I feel like it starts off like, you know, like it starts off with good intentions, like wanting to help people. Those practices and those belief systems, they're always like searching for more and more and more, and you're like seeking to be enlightened and seeking the truth, the truth slowly, and it's like a slow progression. I feel like that's why people get so wrapped up into it and get so defensive about it and so like and believe it so much. It's because it starts off slow. I feel like everyone, you know, gets in with self-help, or there's so many ways to get to it. But if you're in that, and especially now with the internet, it's super easy to like keep feeding yourself information with more and more and more, and like more people's opinions. And really it's going off people's opinions, other people, books, memoir, like things, like people's just ideas, and that's the focus. Like it's on people's ideas, and then it starts to get focused on the self and just me. But with Christianity, it's nice because you can fact check people, and if it's not in the Bible, it's not biblical. So it's like God wants you to test his word. So you get an instruction manual, you get the Bible, and you can fact check what people are saying. So if you're watching sermons or something, you can check it, make sure it's accurate in the Bible. But with the law of attraction, all these things, like, you're only going back to people's opinions or their own studies or something like that. But anyways, going back to focusing on the self, that's the issue. When we're focused on self and take God out of the equation, that's the issue, because really the only reason we're able to improve our life or heal or anything, it's because of the power of God and through the grace of God. That's the only reason. So when you take the idea of God out of it and make it the self, like, I'm healing myself, I'm manifesting, I'm releasing all of these things, it's actually, you're practicing Satanism, which is it's just true. Like, no matter how someone wants to package it up, like law of attraction, law of assumption, whatever it is, if you go into study that's what it actually is. So no one can really like package it up in a pretty box or anything. That's what it is. And in the Bible, Jesus was tempted by the devil, and the devil promises him riches of the world. So just like God can answer our prayers, God hears our prayers, the enemy also hears our prayers and can also answer them. And that's why it's important to have God first in your life, so that you're able to have discernment and know when it is that God is talking to you. And I'm just going to reference the Bible verse. I'm going to read it. Matthew chapter 4, 1 through 11, and I can put it up on the screen. And at that time was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and afterwards was hungry. The tempter approached and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command that these stones become loaves of bread." He said in reply, "It is written, one does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes forth from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and made him stand on the parapet of the temple and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and with their hands they will support you, lest you dash your foot against a stone." Jesus answered him, "Again it is written, you shall not put the Lord your God to the test." And the devil took him up to a very high mountain, and he showed him all the kingdoms of the world in their magnificence, and he said to him, "All these things I shall give to you if you'll prostrate yourself and worship me." At this, Jesus said to him, "Get away, Satan. It is written, the Lord your God shall you worship, him alone, and him alone shall you serve." Then the devil left him, and behold, angels came and ministered to him. So there the devil is promising Jesus, if you follow me, I'll give you all the riches of the world, which is basically the basis of anyone that's teaching you law of attraction, law of assumption, anything that has to do with the new age. So I want to go circle back to seeking the truth. When I was in the new age, I was wanting to seek the truth, and I think God like knew my heart and like knew that I was like actually trying to seek him, because I was seeking the real truth, not people's truth, but I was like on a mission seeking the real truth of the world. And slowly I like was getting drawn to like buy a Bible and get a cross and slow little things that it was very subtle, and I was being really stubborn, and it took me a long time, but I was really, when I was seeking the truth, I was being sought out by the real truth, which is God. And I was looking for Jesus. I want to say nothing has brought me more comfort than handing my life over to God, like complete surrender. I cannot explain to you the amount of peace that brings me. And that's what I want to share the most and like put the most focus on in this video, is that amount of peace that this journey has given me. In the new age, there's always more and more and more. Let me manifest more, let me heal more, let me release more. It's such a center on self. And if something's wrong in your life, then it's because of me, because I'm causing it, I'm thinking it. There's something in my subconscious mind that isn't allowing it to happen, or it's making this bad thing happen, which I don't know about you, but that's like a very stressful way of thinking. And God didn't design life to be like that. He's God. That's for him. Those are his worries. A big thing for me was relearning who God actually is. And I had to be honest with myself, check myself almost, and be like, I'm so open to learning about all of these other practices and religions and way of thinking, law of attraction, all this stuff, but I wasn't really open to reading the Bible, which is something that I feel like a lot of the community there focuses on. Read this book, read that book, read this book, but no one ever mentions the Bible. And it's ironic because the New Age preaches to break free from these limitations, whatever, all these limitations, like break free from this way of thinking, yada, yada, yada. But we're putting ourselves into bondage when we're doing that. By listening to astrology, we're accepting the terms to the astrology, and that's bondage. You're making your life live in accordance to that because you're agreeing to it, and that's actually bondage. You're accepting the terms to a psychic reading, that's bondage. It's actually the opposite of what we think we're doing when we're doing that. We're putting ourselves in bondage, taking away our own freedom, and God is the only one that can release you from that bondage and give you freedom. And I'm telling you guys, like, I was super into all of that stuff, and if I would have heard this, like, until like year 3 of my journey there, like, I would have been like, what are you talking about? You're losing your marbles. But I'm from the other end of it, guys. It's some real stuff. Anyway, so I remember having conversations with myself, telling myself that I could be wrong. Like, I talk about that in my testimony video, so you can go watch that if this happens to be the first video you're watching. And it was a really slow transformation for me. It really set in when I started to read the Bible and watch sermons, and I started to learn who God really is. I grew up going to Christian and Catholic church, and I grew up thinking that God is angry with me. He's always watching. He's angry with me for sinning, that he's condemning, harsh, unjust, wants us to be perfect and live the commandments perfectly. But that's not who God is. God is, and he can be that, not unjust or anything, but he can get upset with us, but it's not like that. God is always first loving, protective, caring, dependable, sweet, and gentle. And most importantly, he expects us to sin, this is something that I had a hard time understanding, and I feel like you don't get it until you get it, but he knew we were going to sin. That's why he sent Jesus, his only son, to die on the cross for us, as a symbol for us to always remember that that's how much he loves us, that he made a son, and his destiny was to go die for our own sin, for everyone else's sin from that point on and before, like, always. And he expects us to sin. That's why we have the grace of God, and that's why Jesus died on the cross for us, which is something that took a while for me to like understand. It sounds kind of like weird. I feel like you don't get it. I didn't understand that until I like started reading the Bible. So I don't know, that's just me. But anyways, that doesn't give us a free pass to like go be super bad and like commit murder, although God will forgive us for that. But it's a reminder for us to know that God loves us no matter what, and he knows we're imperfect because he made us and he knows all of us. Anyway, so back to what I was saying before about the New Age and the self and the thinking we are the cause of everything, that we're in complete control of our life, which is so draining and exhausting. God didn't design us for that. Think about how much relief you can feel from giving all of those like worries and anxieties and everything up to God, and talking to him and saying to him, I don't want to be in charge of this. Help me, protect me, give me peace, and let him handle it, because God is really like our dad. Like, he wants us to do that. He doesn't want us to think that we're supposed to be controlling everything in our life. He's like our dad. Like, he wants to help us with things. He wants us to have an easy life. Like, literally like a kid. So I was hanging out with my nephew the other day, and I think he's 3, and he was like on this bike, and he was trying to like go up onto this little like rolled up rug type thing outside in the front yard. And you know, my instinct is to like go and want to help him or be close by to make sure he doesn't fall or something and hurt himself. but he's learning. He's being a little kid, and he wanted to do it by himself, and he didn't want me to be near. And when I would go near, he's like, no, like go back. Like he didn't want me to be near him. He wanted to do it all by himself, and I'm, like watching him, like I don't want you to hurt yourself, but I have to like respect him, so he builds confidence in himself, and he can, go put his little bike over this rug. At that time, I would wait, and if my nephew asked me for help at any point during that, I would be right there. Like, I'm watching you. Like, I'm right there. I'll help you get the bike over the rug. But, he's a little toddler. He didn't want to do it. He did it all by himself. He fell. He didn't cry. He was fine. But that's kind of like how God is. Like, he's right there waiting for us to be like, hey, help me. But he doesn't force us to have a relationship with him, because that's free will. But as soon as we invite him into our life, he's ready. Like he's ready to forgive, to comfort, to help out. He'll talk about anything that we want to talk about. He'll talk to you all day if you want him to. He's right there ready, but he's not going to force it. Just like a parent, like we're right there ready to help, but it's not going to be forced. And to do that, like to talk to him, you just have to have a little faith. And your faith will eventually grow, because I can't tell you how many times like I've prayed about something, especially lately, and it's like almost instantly resolved, or like I instantly get peace, or the next day it's like fixed, or like it's just wild. That once you start doing that, my faith has built so much, because I'm praying and I'm seeing God answer and hearing him talk to me. And so you just have to have a little bit of faith starting out. Anyway, so I feel like I really went through that journey of posting videos about the law of attraction, which, by the way, our thoughts do materialize, and it's a real thing. Like, so much so that like higher up corporations can use that to manipulate large masses of people. That's all I'll say. And they can imprint, ideas into people. But just because it's true, doesn't mean that we need to be like focusing on the self and like saying that we're capable of doing that. If at all we are, it's only because of God and because of God's grace that we're able to think more positively or be hopeful. And it's only because the grace of God, because he loves us and wants us to have a good life. But that's why it's really important to have a relationship with God, so you can check with him. Are these thoughts coming from you, Lord, or are they not of you? You can constantly be asking him that. It's more important to have that relationship so you can decipher the good from the bad. And I feel like I went through that journey to now hopefully reach people and like guide them to God, because in reality, I feel like most people that are doing like the self-help and law of attraction stuff like want to help people. Like, I feel like their intentions are good. You just don't know what you don't know. And I feel like maybe I went through that, so hopefully someone that is like super into those practices can resonate with the fact that I was also there, and my life changed for the better. I feel like I can help people that are into that relate to it, instead of someone that's like been a Christian their whole life. I would have loved for that to be my life, but for someone that was a Christian their whole life to then talk to someone that was in the new age and, try to talk to them or relate with them, I feel like I can really relate with them. And I feel like maybe that's the reason why I went through that, and why, if you've been following my YouTube journey, you probably saw me used to post all of those things, and now I don't. I also want to say that I want to do that in a very loving and non-judgmental way. Don't let religious people tell you that you're wrong. Start your relationship with God, and the rest will fall into place. Don't let people, like really religious, righteous people, deter you from God. For example, in my testimony video, I was talking about how I wanted to keep my crystals, because I made that video like as soon as I was like, no, this is wrong. Like, when I decided, I think I made the video like the next day. Like, I was like, no, I really need to like get this out there. It's really important. So, but at that time it had just happened, like that transformation had just happened in me. and I was having a hard time letting go of certain things in my life. So I was like, I want to keep my crystals. And people in the comments of that video, it's not like I care, or like I'm upset with them or anything, or I'm not saying they're wrong or anything, but they're telling me, your crystals are demonic, you need to throw them away, like you can't be keeping them. So I just went through this huge transformation, this huge awakening. I'm like, I need to change my whole life, and I'm making a video about it, and people are focused on the fact that I want to keep my crystals. Like, don't, if you have something similar like that happen in your life, don't focus on that. Like, that doesn't matter, because eventually, like, that's when you have to have faith in God to change people on their own time, because eventually, months later, God convicted me to go and throw away my crystals, but I didn't want to do it right away. And God knows us perfectly, so God knew that if he was pushing me maybe to do too much, I would question it or something, I don't know. But God knew, and he was gentle with me and let me take my own time and pursue him, and slowly more and more convictions to change my life in those ways that I never thought I would change. Like just the other day, I threw out a Virgo mug that I had. It had an astrology symbol on it for Virgo, and it's like, oh, it's just a cup. But I just threw it out. Like, I've had it this whole time, and I didn't feel like super convicted to throw it away or give it away or anything, but it just happened. But it was on my own time. So don't let righteous people make you feel like you're not perfect, or you're not doing enough, or you're not doing a good enough job. If you're pursuing God, if you're praying, if you're talking to him, or maybe even also reading the Bible, your life will slowly change. Like, he'll guide you through that, and it's no one else's business, okay? Like, unless you're going to someone for help, and maybe they could help you in a positive way. But if anyone's like trying to put you down or anything, that's no. You need to, that's your and God's business, okay? That's not anyone else's business. So like, I want to say this, like, if you're living in, let's say, super sin, like drinking, doing drugs, partying, sleeping around, stealing, like, whatever. I mean, those are really like, I feel like most people aren't doing that, especially if like you're in the law of attraction community, but it's just an example. Like, if someone's living in that type of lifestyle and they want to turn to God, focus more on the relationship with God instead of like, oh, I have to make my life perfect to please God. God will give you the power and the strength and the will and the conviction to start changing those things once you start having that relationship with him. And it'll be easy. So it's not going to be a difficult thing. Like, if you start to pursue a relationship with him, you'll start to feel the will and the conviction in your heart to start to change your life. So you don't have to like get your life perfect before you start talking to him. He's going to be the one that gives you grace to start changing your life. And that's all that matters. And it can be a slow, subtle progression, and that's totally fine. God understands. He's very understanding. He's very gentle and loving. And he'll be happy with the fact that you're just wanting to start to change your life or turn to him. And I feel like once you start to do that and read the Bible, you naturally, there's just a natural thing that happens of like, oh no, I want to start living my life this way. I don't know why, it's just what it is. It's like God gave us the Bible as a little handy book, like a guidebook. When you get like your car and a car manual, I heard this in a sermon somewhere, like you have the car manual and you know how to run the car well. I feel like he gave us the Bible. You just like do the things that it says, it makes your life run well, but don't get overwhelmed with that. Just, I feel like starting the relationship is first. But anyway, so I feel like God was telling me to make this video. And here I am making this video. I don't necessarily feel qualified to make it, or I don't necessarily want to make it, but I just felt like I was called to do that today. So here I am. Anyway, and I've also been seeing a lot of videos popping up, like new videos, new testimonies from people from New Age to Christianity. And guys, make the videos, because right now we're in a time where a video is very influential, and so many young kids are online. And I've seen like some really concerning things just on YouTube from like little kids like posting things. But anyways, that's a different topic. But there's a bunch of little kids online, guys, and like they don't know what they're watching. If they're watching a bunch of law of attraction stuff, like I don't know, you just don't know. I feel like it's a very important time to let's make Christianity trendy. you know, feel like the New Age was trendy for a while. Let's make Christianity trendy. Let's so post your videos, post your testimonies. They help out people. I can't tell you how many testimonies. I probably watched all the testimonies on YouTube when I was like really questioning in my mind, like, oh my gosh, what's happening? That was like one of the first things I did. So I love seeing new recent like testimonies popping up on my YouTube. So that's great, because we really need to flood as much as we can, if you feel called to do so. And when you surrender your life to God, he can make you do like crazy things. For example, Doreen Virtue, she was like a huge New Age author, had a bunch of books, cards, all these things, videos, and she stopped like production on all of it, which I'm sure was like millions of dollars that she just immediately stopped, which probably people thought was crazy, but as a believer, I don't think it's crazy. On a much smaller scale, I was called to delete 100 videos from my YouTube and totally change pace on my YouTube, and I didn't even think twice about it. Like, I just did it. I never looked back. It's a done deal. And I would do anything that's like I feel called, that God's like calling me to do. I don't want to get too far off track here, but I just want to encourage you that if you're watching this video and you watched it to this point and you're questioning what you're doing, if you feel like something's off or something's wrong, because I used to feel like that all the time. Like, I felt like something was off and wrong, but I just like ignored it. I don't know, I was just being so stubborn. But all I can say is pray, talk to God. He's right there. He's waiting for you. He's as soon as you want to talk to him, he'll talk to you all day if you want him to. He's really sweet and gentle. And just tell him that how you're feeling. Like, if you're confused, tell him that you need help, that you need, you know, discernment, and you'll start to get convictions. And I feel confident in that. Watch sermons if you want on YouTube. Like, educate yourself, re-educate yourself, especially if you had like a preconceived notion of what God and Christianity is, because I used to have a bad preconceived notion on that from my own experience. Relearn, reteach yourself. Be open to it, especially if you're so open to learning all of the New Age practices. Just have that same curiosity and relearn who God really is. Because I don't know, just I didn't have the right image of him. So anyways, you guys can always message me. I have a few favorite sermons if you ever want me to send you one that you can watch on YouTube, that have really like helped me change my idea of God and like relearn who he really is. Like, I'd be more than happy to send them to you, so you can message me on Instagram or in the comments. I'll just link it if you guys need anything. Anyways, I feel like I still feel like I'm relearning, and I feel really vulnerable in my faith. I feel strong in my faith, but vulnerable talking about it, just because I'm still, you know, going through my own things. But I've never been so sure of anything in my life. So, and I would just, like, I remember when I was like in the New Age, and like it was fun, and at the time, I can't believe I just said it was fun. It used to be fun. It felt like I was doing a good thing, but always deep down there was like something that felt off, and I knew it, but I just like wouldn't acknowledge it or something. And now I feel so certain and confident in my love for God and like how much peace that brings me. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I want everyone that is practicing those other things to feel what I'm feeling. I want you guys to feel like secure and assured and comforted and peace with your life like I do now. And I've never felt that when I was practicing all those other things. And I only feel that now. And I wish everyone could come and feel that for themselves. So I guess that's why I'm making this video. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Let me know, of course, if you guys have any questions. And why did I say let me know like that? It's so weird. Anyway, okay. I appreciate you guys so much. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys in another video.